A person from which profession would you not like to marry? Any emergency responder is a nope for me for a multitude of reasons. And, I have to say it is nice being married to someone who just works regular hours. Prior to meeting my husband, I dated guys who often had to work nights and weekends. It was honestly kind of a bummer, especially when they only got their schedules a week or two in advance. It made it really hard to plan things. When I started dating my husband, it was so strange to me that we could plan things on Saturdays months in advance because he knew he wasn't working. I couldn't date and marry a person who is in the army military. Not because I couldn't be away from them for deployment or whatever, as I've done long distance before, but because I've had full-blown panic attacks triggered by a nightmare of getting a knock on the door that my significant other isn't coming home. I give all the props to soldiers and their spouse, I just wouldn't be strong enough to do it. Any job that has worse hours than 9 to 5 on weekdays with occasional travel and some overtime during the busy season. I wouldn't want to date someone who has weird shifts, who doesn't have weekends off, or who regularly needs to be gone for days at a time. Any job where there's a good chance you'll need to relocate. I'm not willing to move long distance for anything less than a 7-figure salary. Pilots, flight attendants, police, nurses, doctors. Work-life balance sucks until you're a senior, and most of these jobs have above average infidelity rates. I'd rather my SO and I come home to each other every night, even if we make less money. I turned up being a commercial pilot to get into software development just so I'm home more. Active duty military or any other profession that might require relocation. I could be wrong, but I feel like there's a greater chance of ending up somewhere like Bumpsy, Mississippi, Georgia, etc. than, say, Colorado, or a state that wouldn't completely miserable for a person who likes winter and winter sports to live in. Those intense business guys, playing golf with the other business douches and talking about mergers and paying their employees as little as they can possibly get away with doing. To me, you have to have a specific personality type to thrive in the world of business, and it's not conducive to a loving relationship. Actress. I can already see the aggressive comments telling me I'm wrong for not seeing it their way, but it's just not for me. I don't want to see my wife, girlfriend kissing somebody else, being nude on screen, being intimate, even fake intimacy with another person. Call it what you will, but it isn't for me. Currently married to a teacher, and for so many reasons our relationship is best. If this ship sinks, I don't think I could ever be with a teacher again. They're wonderful people usually, but the job expects them to be married to it before anyone else. Sex worker. Not because of STIs, although that would be a concern, but because I'd have to stack up against so many other people in terms of performance, and I'd just feel like shit the whole time because I know there's someone that did it better than me. I can already tell you from both working in the industry and having partners in the industry, cook, chef. We never have free time and no holidays either, always up and on our legs in high volume environments, so mostly no breaks, and always tired as well. I was a server bartender while in college. I will not date a server bartender now that I'm out of the scene. Some of the most fun years of my life, but I now live a very different life and I am not comfortable dating a server bartender, police or military for political reasons. Anyone working in a restaurant. I worked in one, have several friends who worked in one. It's too much stress. I don't want to be with someone who could bring home that kind of stress. I dated a geological engineer and we split because he'd be sent off to remote mining camps for weeks at a time. Then even when he was working in town, he would work overtime most nights. I never saw him, not for me. Hairdressers. They look so cool, and then it turns out the look is the point, rather than an expression of a dynamic personality backed by the kind of world knowledge I'm interested in. Real estate agents, employment office worker, influencer of any kind, MLM people, business owner of any kind of business that tricks people into something that is not good for them at all. Since my divorce almost 6 years ago, I've online dated. 4 teachers have approached me each time and we dated. Each one was a different type of crazy, but they know how to party. Fireman, police, paramedic or tow truck driver. Basically anyone who would need to be traveling to all sorts of dangerous places. I just don't think I could take that anxiety. Any profession where the guys has to travel a lot and will result in long distance. I crave love and physical touch, so cannot compromise on it if I have a choice only. The obvious answer is anyone related to law enforcement due to the sky-high rates of domestic violence. But I'd go with real estate agents. They're soulless parasites. I personally would not marry a celebrity, no matter what they do. I wouldn't put up with the media taking an interest in our personal lives. It takes away freedom. Cop, lawyer, pastor, musician that tours. And specifically for me, No one in the manufacturing of donuts or fried foods. The smell of fried grease makes me queasy. Prison guard, there's a reason they have some of the highest domestic abuse reports out there. Plus my mom dated one who beat her, so I may also be biased. Pathologist. It is one thing to remember the objective reality of human life. Another thing face this reality almost every day for 8 hours straight. Anything that involves a lot of travel. I need to be with my partner, often, and I would be pretty heartbroken if we had to be apart a lot. I would not date anyone in the military, law enforcement, or any other career where family has to routinely be sacrificed for work. No sex workers. Most of them have learned to see people as marks and focus their energies to get what they can from them. Corrections officer. They are surrounded by the worst of humanity and it colors the rest of their perception of the world. I don't think I'd want to be married to a doctor. Their hours are insane unless it's at the end of an established career. Engineer. I am an engineer, and I want someone that does something that I can admire without necessarily relating to it. Anything that requires working odd hours or extensive travel that would limit the amount of time we can spend together. Correction officers, teachers, politicians, prostitutes, including OnlyFans, and definitely influencers and YouTubers. Anything along the lines of cops, military, prison guards, or manipulating people to make money. Sales marketing. Those who works with kids, especially preschool, kindergarten, they drag everything the little devils have home. Military. I want someone who's daily at home when we have children and don't want to fear he never comes back. I would never marry a celebrity actor, singer, TV host, athlete, whatever. I would be jealous all the time. Livestock farmer, meat processing plant worker, fisherman. I'm vegan, so this would be a non-starter. Zookeeper. Never trust someone who can fit their whole arm inside an animal's butt, and can prove it. OnlyFans. I'd happily sleep with, but they're not going into the serious bucket. That's for sure. I've dated lawyers. To some, everything is an argument. At one point it was a red flag for me. Therapist. I don't want my problems to become a typical workday for them at home. Lamau. Slaughterhouses, butchers, vicars, etc. Politician. Prostitute, porno, male or female. No cops. I grew up with a parent who was a cop, and no thank you on that one. Lawyers. I myself one, and don't want a house full of who is right and who is not. A doctor. The money would be nice, but I would like to actually spend time with them. Teacher. You don't get it right, they make you do it over again. Unless it's sex. Well, I was a roofer for a very long time and I would never date a roofer. Low. Tie between law enforcement and anything involving religious organizations. Anything religious or quasi-healthcare. Most others would be fine, I think. Social media creators, specifically influencer, TikTok, Instagram. I'm surprised that I don't find prostitution and adult industry here. Anything revolving around politics, sounds like misery to me. Lamau. Flight attendants. The male ones tend to be promiscuous whores. Anything revolving the adult sex industry. Doesn't matter which. My mama always told me to never marry a cop. And I never would. Realtor. They are always working. And weekends are peak time. Gravedigger. If we fight, he knows how to operate a backhoe. Social worker. I'm one myself, and I feel like I go crazy. Alternative medicine and similar bullshit. Advertising. Anyone in entertainment. I think the reasons are obvious. Police. Lawyers. Politician. Military. Insurance sales.